Mes chers camarades, bien le bonjour. Les cow-boys étaient noirs, enfin, en partie, hein. C'est un constat que j'ai pu tirer de mon séjour aux États-Unis lors du tournage de On les appelle Cowboys, un documentaire pour FranceTV. On a traversé le pays du nord au sud, j'ai rencontré plein de gens formidables et aujourd'hui, je vous mets à disposition ici, gratuitement, l'intégralité des interviews que j'ai réalisées. Aujourd'hui, on va donc causer avec Valéria Cunningham qui dirige le plus gros rodéo noir des États-Unis. Où est-ce qu'on est aujourd'hui?
We are in Memphis, Tennessee. We're doing the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo here this weekend in April. April 10th, yesterday we did what we call our Rodeo for Kids' Sake. And today we're doing 2 performances here in Memphis.
C'est quoi un rodéo?
It is actually a professional rodeo that includes all the rodeo events. We have ranch bronc riding, bareback riding, ladies barrel racing, ladies steer and decorating, ladies breakaway. We have events for our juniors. We have steer wrestling, which is also called bulldogging, tie-down roping, which is also called calf roping, team roping, and then the most exciting event of the day is bull riding.
What is bull riding?
Bull riding is when a cowboy gets on the back of a 2-ton bull and they kind of strap themselves in and they have to stay on the bull for 8 seconds. If you get kicked off before 8 seconds, it's a no time. But if you stay on for 8 seconds, you're probably going to get a score. And it depends upon how well the bull bucked and how graceful the cowboy was while he was riding the bull, I guess you could say.
Il y a combien de personnes qui s'entraînent ici?
Probably have somewhere between 150 and 100 and 200, excuse me. We have Pee-wee, which is from 5 years old to 7 years old. We have our juniors, which are 8 years old to 13, and then we have our open events. We also have one event that is a combination of the juniors and over 55. It's called Juniors 55 Plus Tie-Down Roping. So we try to embrace all the different generations in our rodeo.
Et ici, en fait, on est sur du rodéo afro-américain.
The Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo is an African American rodeo association. We are the only African American touring rodeo association in the world. So what does that mean? It means that in order to compete in our rodeos, you must be a member of our association. And the rodeo was based on the fact that my deceased husband, who was the founder of the rodeo, went to a rodeo in Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1977. And he didn't see anybody that looked like us. And it piqued his interest as to why there were no black cowboys or cowgirls participating. So he did his research and found that there were thousands of black cowboys and cowgirls, but they were not given the platforms or the opportunities to compete in rodeo. So he decided he was going to create his own association, and thus here we are 42 years later.
Et c'est important d'avoir cette représentation des Noirs dans le rodéo, justement?
Absolutely, because for a very long time, black cowboys, have been around since the 1800s. But they were able to rodeo, but only after everybody was gone and nobody could see them. The black history of black cowboys and cowgirls have been whitewashed from the history books. They were never in the history books. You never saw them on television. You never saw them in movies. You know, you remember Long Ranger, but nothing about black cowboys. So The reason it is important is we must educate our communities about our history, the true history, and we also continue to make new history. So it's all about bringing our community together and educating them while we're entertaining them.
Et c'était qui, du coup, les premiers cow-boys noirs?
The first black cowboys actually were back in the 1870s, and that was the time that Bill Pickett was actually born in the 1870s. And he started riding horses and training horses and breaking horses at the age of 5 years old. And Bill Pickett became the most popular black cowboy during that time. He was in movies. He worked on the 101 Ranch in Oklahoma. He was with the Wild West show. But once again, nobody talked about him. He's the one that created the event that's called steer wrestling or bulldogging. But nobody would know that. And so over the years, we have educated people about who Bill Pickett is, because he was the most popular black cowboy.
Comment est-ce qu'on en est arrivé à avoir des cow-boys noirs?
So let's talk about the history of black cowboys. They have been around from the beginning of time. You know, when they were slaves, the white man didn't know how to take care of the horses and whatever. The black cowboys brought that over from Africa with them. And they took care of the horses and trained and did all of that. So they have truly been cowboys that have trained other people how to take care of horses, how to groom them, how to train and do different things. So as far as we're concerned, black cowboys have existed from the beginning of time that they were brought to this country. They just were not respected and given the credit. History will tell you that 1 in 4 cowboys were black. But once again, the history books won't tell you that. And so we have to once again tell the true history and stories of the black cowboys and the black cowgirls.
And black cowboys are considered like white cowboys. They same salary, same, you know?
Well, a white cowboy and a black cowboy are the same. However, there are inequities. For us starting a black rodeo circuit, we were told that it would never be successful, and then you don't get the type of money from the other companies that they pour into the white rodeo companies. So when a black cowboy is competing with a black rodeo association like ours, the money is not as good if they were competing with the all-white rodeo association. I hope you understand that. There are still inequities that exist today, and that's just a matter of fact, but we can't dwell on that. What we have to do is try to up-level our rodeos to be as professional and as close to payoffs as the white rodeos. It's going to take us a long time to get there, but last year the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo gave over $200,000 at our finals. Well, when we started our finals, maybe it was $20,000. And now it's over $200,000 in money and gifts. So we've come a very long way trying to, once again, uplift black rodeo.
Et vous pensez que ce que vous faites ici, ça permet d'impliquer beaucoup plus les populations noires et de s'approprier cette histoire de l'Amérique qui est quand même très liée aux cow-boys?
Absolutely. I would say about 10 years ago, the environment started changing. People were beginning to get into the Western culture more. And I say we take a lot of that credit because over the 42 years that we've been doing rodeo, we've been educating people about the importance of Black Western culture. And so I'm sure you've heard of Beyonce.
Yeah.
Okay, Beyonce, came out a couple years ago with her new album, and it just rocked the world. And everybody now wants to be part of the Western culture and learn more. And when you bring people like what Beyonce is doing and what we're doing together, it just increases the opportunity for us to educate our communities and make them a part of it, where they want to come and, dress like a cowboy or cowgirl and be part of the festivities. So that's the fun part of it.
Combien est-ce qu'il y a de gens qui viennent assister à ce rodéo?
Every city that we travel to, the venues are different. And so the capacity is different. So here in Memphis, yesterday we had about 4,000 kids in here for our Rodeo for Kids' sake. Today we had about 3,500. Tonight we'll have about 3,500. So you add that together, we're at 10,500 people for this weekend. Next weekend we'll be in Atlanta, Georgia. Same type of numbers. In Washington, D.C., we do 4 shows there in a weekend. So you're looking at about 12,000 people for that weekend. So we have a huge following all across the United States. And when we are in Fort Worth, Texas, at Cowtown Coliseum, we have an international crowd that comes to see us from all over the country. We've had people from Germany, New Zealand, Australia, France, Spain, China, Vietnam. So it is an international market there, and people come in to have the experience of the greatest show on dirt.
Comment est-ce que les cow-boys noirs finalement sont arrivés dans le métier?
That's a very interesting question, and you have to live here in the United States to understand that. After the Civil War, things changed, but they changed very slow. And it wasn't until in the 1960s, so you're talking about the Civil War that was in 1800s, and I'm talking about the 1960s, and things were still not equal, and we had to struggle for everything that we wanted or wanted to have happen. So the Black cowboy journey has been that journey. What you see in America as far as the Black journey is the same journey for the Black cowboy. People were trying to find jobs wherever they could. And so Black folks that were coming out of the Civil War, they went into different aspects of all types of work. They became servants, they became cooks, there were cowboys. But even though you think Blacks were free after the Civil War, a lot of Blacks were still not free.
Yeah.
So when I talk about the journey of being Black in this country, it has been something that has evolved, and it has evolved very slowly.
Yeah.
Okay? And we have a lot of black ranchers, a lot of black cowboys that own their own ranches and their own farms and stuff. But throughout the history, people have taken their land, tried to take their land from them, tried to take their farms from them. They've been successful at certain times using the government to do that. So I don't want anybody to think that being a black cowboy or being a black cowgirl is a glorious thing. It is a lot of hard work, and they have to fight for everything that they get. And even though you see all these cowboys and cowgirls here today, they are trying to make a new way and set a new history and establish a new journey for black cowboys and cowgirls.
So black cowboys are worker. It's a difficult job, and so black cowboy earn a lot of money or no?
Well, we need to not so focus on the Civil War. Okay, I'm going to say that.
Okay.
Because there has always been disparities in this country between white and black. Not only cowboys, everybody. So I don't center this around cowboys. It's just the world that we live in, and those disparities exist. What we have to do as a proud people is overcome that and make the best of whatever situations we're in to survive. And that's what you see in black cowboys and cowgirls, because they were left out over a period of time or not given the opportunities. We now give them opportunities so they can showcase their skills, and they are proud of what they are accomplishing in our world of rodeo. Okay? We have some cowboys and cowgirls that leave our black rodeo association and go join like the PRCA or the PBR, and that is the ultimate achievement for them, because now they're competing at the same level for the same money and everything. And we love when we see them progressing and reaching that level. When you talk about wages for black cowboys, you have to remember now they were slaves. And even after the Civil War, a lot of them were not free men. And so they still worked for slave wages. Even when they rodeoed, there was a differentiation on the wages. And they didn't get to compete at the levels that white cowboys got to compete at. So when I say there are disparities, there is disparities in all jobs and everything that took place as we continue to travel and go through the journey to get to be seen as equal.
Et les cowboys, c'était pas que des compétiteurs qui faisaient du rodéo, c'était des travailleurs aussi.
Cowboys have done everything, every aspect. They have taken care of the animals, they have broken horses, they have raised the cattle, taken care of the cattle, protected them. They've started their own farms, ranches, and whatever. They are, I say this, we're very smart people, and we know how to survive. But when somebody is constantly pushing you down, it just makes that effort more intense because you have to push harder to get above.
Merci aux équipes de TSVP, la société de production avec qui j'ai travaillé sur ce projet et qui ont monté ces interviews. Vous pouvez retrouver mon documentaire sur les cowboys, mais aussi celui sur les samouraïs que j'ai tourné au Japon directement sur la plateforme FranceTV. Je vous mets un petit lien en description et commentaire. À plus.